GMs, or GGE, depending. Hope everyone is doing good. Osa in the house. Yo, 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 wavy. Nice. Give it another 30 seconds. People are trickling in. And then we'll get cracking into the juice of today's session. You can't hear? Hang on. Oh, yeah. I can see the mic working on OBS and Discord. So copy all is G on my end. Try it. You're gone. All right, team, how about we start? I think we've got enough in the house to get cracking. As always, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining live, of course, if you're here with me today. And if you're watching the recording, just make sure that you leave a comment down below to say g'day and let me know what you want to see more of. Got it. Cup is back. Welcome back, legend. He is back. Cool. So, market has been playing with us, right? It always does. So I thought we could grab some macro perspective and I'll let you guys know what I see, how I see it, and why. Okay, does it sound good for everyone in the chat? Let me know. And as always, if you got charts, things you want me to look at, pop them down and I can look at them. But I want to give you guys a bit of a macro because I think it's really important to understand where we are right now versus where we could potentially be. So let's start with Daddy Bitcoin first of all. GM for all the people tuning in now. Thank you for tuning in live. We watched last week and we went through how Bitcoin does these pullbacks, absolutely normal, anywhere between 20 to 33%, big pullbacks after the most recent highs. You can go back and backtest it all the way till pretty much anywhere you want. So this is just how pullbacks work in a bull market. Okay, obviously in a bear market, pullbacks are 70 to 90%. But in a bull market, we can see we have this 20 to 30% pullbacks on a regular basis. That's just normal, because if you understand how liquidity works, you understand that liquidity is fuel for market makers and or market in general to move, right? So these are basically pit stops that the market needs to do to come and recharge, refuel to go higher. So 20-30%, nothing new on Bitcoin to see. Now, we printed, as we know, recently all-time high. That was just a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, thereabout. No, yeah, a couple of weeks ago. We printed all-time high at 125, 20, just under 125, depending on price fit. And so far, we have only, and I say only because if we know that 20 to 30% is normal, seeing 13% pullback is really not that much. It's almost half potentially of what regular pullbacks do usually go for. So with that in mind, we can start formulating a bias. We can start formulating an idea. We can start formulating a direction of where the market could potentially go. So that's the first thing that I do when I look at macro. Where are we at? What is the pattern? Obviously, market doesn't move in the same direction all the time, but guess what? It often rhymes, okay? So I'm expecting a deeper pullback. When? Well, let's have a look at a couple of things. If we take the most recent price action or similar move, you can say, right? We're on a daily right here. Last previous impulse, all-time high back in January was 110. What we did here, and I hope you can see that little money symbol right there, we created liquidity, right? We created an all-time high, we retraced down, we did a nice, beautiful harmonic OW. If you know harmonics, you know I love them. So if you know me, you know I love harmonics. So you know that I always talk about it when I see them. So that's a beautiful harmonic. We retested just above the previous all-time high, and then we went and grabbed this liquidity and does the 30% pullback before we went up and printed new all-time high. Now, team, tell me, what do you think we are doing here? Impulse, impulse. Let me just do this so we can do it side by side. Impulse, impulse. That's right. Copy knows it. Liquidity, liquidity. We have been effectively ranging, okay, and ranging means moving sideways, building liquidity. We have been ranging in this level, and we have recently grabbed upside liquidity. So we already gone up, and we already grabbed money that was sitting up here. So where is the next logical point for the market to go and refuel? Since it's already refueled up here, the tank is full with that money. Money's sitting down here now, okay? It's pretty evident. It's pretty clear. And when we know that there's going to be a drop of around 20 to 30%, and we've only dropped 13%, well, is it fair to say that we could probably expect more downside action? I think so. Further to that, look at the actual shape of the move. Impulse, actually that was bad. Impulse, all-time high, W retest, and move. Now let's do this. Oh, no, sorry. I can do it again quickly. This, and move. What if I do this? Do you think we could potentially be building something similar? Well, we have obviously the impulse here. We build in that retest, and I'll show you what I mean. I can actually draw a new one. So same thing. Impulse. Retest above all-time high, potentially. And then move to complete that 30%. Or 20 to 30%. 30% would actually be done here, just FYI. So it will be around 88,000, mid 80s, which is totally doable because on a weekly we'll go there in a second. But it does make sense to me. Does it make sense to you guys? Can you see it? Can you see the similarity in the move where we basically print an all-time high? We are going to likely come back for it, retest it, fake everyone out, have most of the retail traders saying, oh, we are going to go higher. So retail traders, once we break above this previous high, people that trade off YouTube, people that don't know how to trade, they're going to press buy. They're going to think that Bitcoin is going to 150,000 because we broke above resistance, right? And in reality, what this is just a fake out to grab that liquidity, refuel, and then the real move happens. And then obviously we come back down here into this one candle, very likely, potentially even lower, this one daily candle, which is definitely an institutional candle. And if you don't know what they are, go and watch my recordings. I've got whole masterclasses about institutional candles, but this is definitely the move that I'm expecting to happen. Okay. And I think I briefly covered it in the chat the other day when someone asked me, are we completely out on the ETH short? Yes, we did. We hit TP2, which is great. But the reality is, I think we are going to experience potentially into this weekend, potentially into the next week, a little bit of a bullish price action. I'm not falling for it personally. I think this is just a repeat of this exact move. So up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 and then down again. It rhymes. It's just that. And further to that, if you don't believe that this happens, look at this move. Like you just trading is about recognizing patterns, right? And obviously they don't necessarily always look exactly the same. But look at this.
Where you coming?
Yeah. Can you see it? Or you can even do this. This was another W, and then the move happens. So this is just how the market moves. And once you understand how liquidity works, it's pretty, I'm not going to say easy, but it's pretty obvious to see these patterns. Would you trade up to that, aiming for a reversal? I would 100% do not recommend trading anything right now. And the reason is we are at a top, we're in the middle of a range. So this is the high, this is the low, this is our range. We are sitting pretty much in the middle of a range, right? So why would that doesn't give me enough risk to reward to go up, and it definitely doesn't give me enough risk to reward to go down. So right now I'm sitting on my hands, I'm not doing anything. I will eventually, however, look at potential shorts once we get into this candle up here. So anywhere between the 120 to say 126, a little bit above previous high, I'll definitely be looking for shorts. But I'm not just going to press short or sell just because we come into this into this level. I want to see some break of structure on lower time frames. Basically what I want to see is we get up here, we print a high, and then we start printing a lower high, and then a lower low, and then this will be my short right here. Once I get this confirmation and this break of structure right here. Does it make sense? So I need to see confirmation first. I need to see break of structure. I need to see market basically telling us, yep, we're going lower. So this is why I have refrained from putting any ideas in terms of buying for portfolio right now, because I do think we will see in the short term some bearish price action. I think we'll come back into this area at least, and potentially, and I'll show you on the weekly, my favorite area that we would likely come back into is this one right here. So I would love to see an $80,000 Bitcoin in the coming, whatever weeks. So if we take the high and the low, 30% is, you can see, it's roughly about 86,000. So into that vicinity right there. That's my best case scenario. Okay, so but if I have a bias, if I formulated an idea which is telling me basically we are going to go lower, why would I want to buy any alts that are going to bleed twice as bad as Bitcoin if Bitcoin does drop another 15-20%? Why would I do that? I'm going to be in drawdown. So I would rather wait and stack capital, and that's what I posted the other day on my channel. I said, guys, now is a good time to start thinking about reallocating your portfolio, reshaping your portfolio, and potentially stack capital. And stack capital, because once we get down here, this will be the time to deploy. It's not going to be now where we're nearing all-time high and potentially going to, drop another 20-30%. The time to deploy capital is going to be down here. That's obviously if we think that the bull market is still going to go up. Could this be the top? Sure, it could. Nobody knows, okay? There's still signs out there that make me think we likely are not at the top just yet, but we could potentially be very close. Why would I want to go and buy alts though if we are close to the top? Because alts have not really run yet. So there is some certain alts that we've been looking at that I do think once Bitcoin drops, alts are going to come cheaper, and then they're going to have another one, maybe two small runs, or maybe even larger runs, but they're basically going to give us another round to make some money, right? And we can cover some alts later on as well, but for now I just wanted to give you a bit of an understanding as to where my head is at with Bitcoin, where I think we potentially could go, and why I haven't shared a lot of buying ideas on portfolio side of things. So all clear so far? Let me know in the chat. So I am basically going to be waiting for all-time high to be invalidated. Taken, grab liquidity, and then I expect a deeper retracement. Now, usually we do start our calls looking at Bitcoin dominance, and we every week pretty much we've been talking about this one candle right here, weekly candle 1 2 3, and this last candle being retested very likely and see some potential buying pressure, and looks like we came very close to it. We didn't quite get there. I still think we'll retest this. So what we want to see now in terms of potentially alts having another run is Bitcoin dominance coming back into this bullish, last bullish candle, and then potentially invalidating this buying pressure area. This is going to take weeks, mind you. We're on a weekly chart. So there's still possibility that alts are going to go for a run, but in the shorter term, as you can see, the magnet and the first stop is going to be this candle, meaning alts are likely going to go a little bit down because Bitcoin dominance goes up, means more money tied into Bitcoin, means less money flowing into altcoins. Therefore, price action goes down. Okay, so pretty straightforward so far. I do expect dominance to go up in the few coming weeks, coming potentially all the way up into the mid 60s. Maybe not mid 60s here, but 60 to 63% is definitely a target there for me for Bitcoin dominance in order to reverse and potentially hopefully reverse in there. Okay. So ETH, obviously we had a really nice setup. For some of my personal students, that we were talking about this level with liquidity building for a while. We discussed about first grab of liquidity was done here. The second grab of liquidity was just natural. It was going to come eventually. If you grab a couple of different price feed, I've noticed, like, for example, Kraken, which is notoriously bad for wicks, already grabbed it and then retested it. But Coinbase and most, had that retest later on. So that's how we entered that short, which most of you guys hopefully took. We had TP1 hit, TP2 hit, and then obviously you can see my stop loss was there. So once we hit TP2, I was pretty much out. The hope was to come a little bit lower, but as we discussed, we now know that Bitcoin is likely going to go up for a little bit. So we can expect larger caps to follow. So Solana, ETH, and so forth. Okay, so my bias for ETH will be likely coming up somewhere in this imbalance, which we already trading in, and now you can see. So we're already trading into this big imbalance right now on a daily. But I will likely want to see this imbalance filled all the way up to 4,550, say. So I'm just gonna do a little box there for us so we can see it, and that's my fair value gap right there. So that's kind of my area that I like to come and see a retest. Minding you that all-time high was obviously very close, so we're very close to all-time high. ETH might pull one of those, so where it goes actually and grab similar to Bitcoin all-time high again, and then does a retrace down. And I know for a fact that once we come back down from wherever it will be, right, it could be all the way to 5,000, who knows how high it will go first, but this is the candle where I'm going to be pressing buy right here. So my candle is going to be 4,153 to 3.8. Obviously this is a daily candle, so there's quite a lot happening in there. But we will want to obviously wait for price action a little bit closer to when we get down there. Straight away, I can see a 4-hour candle right there. That would be a nicer, tighter entry for us to potentially look at, and a nice swing once we get back down there. And that's not now, mind you, because I do think that trade, as we just looked at, it's already gone. It's already shipped that sale. It will come back later on, and we will look at a setup as well. And if you look on a weekly, this is the candle as well that I'm interested in. So failing this setup, there's going to be another level there potentially for us to look at for obviously all-time high and whatnot. And this is a weekly candle, so we would have want a 1 to 2. We obviously would want to scale down in lower time frame and find a better, more suited setup. So let's just wait and see, obviously, for ETH and BTC the next few days, what they hold for us. Weekend, we'll likely see some crazy. I think this weekend is going to be bullish. Usually weekends are pretty bearish, but I think this weekend is going to be bullish. By the look of it, and by how close we are to potentially push up there, yeah, it could potentially be bullish weekend. Or, we could come back here on Friday and then have a bit of a reversal, come back into whatever imbalance we form up here, and then continue as high next week. So there's a fairly large imbalance been left behind into this daily candle, so you can see. So let's see what the new daily candle, which just opened 7 seconds ago, is going to do. If it's going to go up, then we kind of know that the weekend potentially can come down and fill some of those imbalances. Whereas if this new daily candle that just starting now is going to come and fill some of these imbalances, then we're likely going to see a bullish weekend. Okay, hope it makes sense. Yes. Yeah, no worries. We can have a look at some of the stocks as well. So, BTC, ETH out of the way. Solana, what can we expect? Well, we saw similar to obviously what we just discussed. We've had a massive rally. That was the short that we had from way back when. We also had a beautiful long. Right now, I want to see price action come in and retest any of these imbalances before I press anything. I'm not gonna do buy. I'm not gonna do sell. There's too much liquidity, too many imbalances everywhere on Sol. I'd rather stick to BTC and have a look at what Daddy BTC is going to do in the next few days before trying to do anything. If I was to potentially look at a setup, this daily candle could be it for Sol. I don't necessarily like it. It didn't take any previous liquidity out. Unlike this candle right here, which you can see it went below these lows. So the setup for me would have been this long from here, but that's obviously gone. So I'm not necessarily loving this price action on Sol. So I'm just going to stay out of the way there and focus on other things. XRP, for those of you who took the trade, I think it was either last week or a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember when we took it, but I mean, that was a sniper entry right there. You can see went all the way down to TP3. Good stuff, good stuff. And now we'll likely see continuation on the hub, just because obviously if Bitcoin is going to go up, this is potentially also an harmonic forming right here. So there's a lot of confluence. Once again, similar to Sol, this could be a candle that may give us a buying opportunity. Not necessarily my favorite setups, but if you're feeling risky and you want to go for it, you can look at some entries into this type of bearish last candles before the move up, and potentially even fill in some of the imbalances that are going to get formed into this new daily candle. Not for me though. I'd rather have more confirmations, and yeah, they're not my favorite setups. So let's have a look. Where are we? Let's have a look at some stocks maybe. So, Cap is saying Intel. Let's have a look at Intel. We were obviously saying buy at $20. Let's have a look. And yep, it's a 2x DCA zone. Personally, wave here trade stocks on Webull and eToro. I can give you some links later. I'll put them in the chat so you've got them. So yeah, Intel, I think the news that came out was there's been many news. So first of all, this big gap was when the government of the United States basically acquired 10% of Intel. The second big pump has been that basically Nvidia is going to work with Intel. So if you bought pretty much for the whole time when we were saying buying $20, you're up now 2x. Okay, so that's good stuff. We've done a couple of those calls, don't we? We've done a couple of those calls. Probably the most famous one was buying was it UNH, so United Health, the day before Warren Buffett. That was pretty good. Yep. Yeah, Bucked. BKKT. So I've done a whole post on my personal channel on Bucked as to why I thought it was a great buy. It just makes sense. Narrative when it comes to stocks, that's what you got to look for. You got to look for the narratives. This was our entry right there, and we are now up in the space of, well, I don't know, a week. 3.5x. So not a bad. Not a bad return on a stock, you know. And look, we've got higher to go. That's how I think we still got higher. So let me get my mouse. Where did it go? We still got higher. Obviously, if you look on the weekly, we barely now starting to break out. The way up is rosy. No, I didn't know. I didn't know anything there, Cubby. I promise. I promise I didn't know anything. But the narrative makes sense. You got to think, right? You got to think, why would I want to invest in this company? Okay, what is the narrative? They had all the infrastructure set up. They had everything set up for great adoption, for what's it called? Regulated adoption, in different countries that they have all the setup. It was just a matter of time. Like, it's just a matter of times before a chart, and you guys know, what is this doing here? Just building liquidity. And then I turn on the volume. I do this every time. I turn on the volume, and what do we see? Massive spike in volume, dead, massive spike in volume. Okay, great, there's interest. And then the volume starts going up, price is going down. There's obviously a divergence there. Price is going down, volume is going up. It was just a matter of time. That's how we take these trades. We're not magicians. We're literally just following what the charts is telling us. And stocks, it's where I use most of the volume. Like Cracker Barrel, I think it's just a matter of time before we start moving. Once again, you can see volume started picking up. Only way to settle this, Nancy versus Aussie. Oh man, I think I would lose. She's an insider, not me. I mean, I didn't say anything. Don't take me accountable. I was, yeah, it's not. But look, here I'll give you a gem, guys. Who wants some alpha on a stock? Put a 2 in the chat if you want some alpha on a stock. Put a 2 in the chat. Love it. Cool. That's enough 2s in the chat. I love it. Okay, put this on your radar. Vision System AI, VSA. Put this on your radar. Buying price for me is basically from current market price, which it is 319, but post market it was trading at 291. So from 291 all the way down to pretty much the wick, so call it $1.25. That's my buying area. So I'm gonna be placing a market buy here, a current market price, and I'm gonna be scaling in if we go lower. Probably looking at take profit $6, $20, and then a lot higher. So this would be my take profit. This is the chart. Okay. Is this starting to click? What are we looking at? This is the chart. Volume. Imbalance filled. Manipulated. And who wants to see the news? Who wants to see the news? Because you can't, with stock is hard. You can't be everywhere, right? So Vision System announces appointment of Chief Strategy Officer. Let's have a look. Vision Sys. Okay, who's this? Jacob Sirinian. Bring extensive expertise in decentralized finance, DeFi, within the Solana ecosystem. Interesting. He held the position of president and member of the directors of TJN Enterprises. His accomplishment includes developing risk management protocols, building advanced tools for liquidity providers, and providing liquidity for 20 billion in on-chain volume. This, yeah, it's all good. I'll share it again. He was an automatic market maker. This guy has been around. What they're gonna do, likely, is they're gonna buy Solana and they're gonna stake it. Okay, and these guys are all about AI. So Vision Sys, if you go and have a look at it, go and read what the company does. But tick. We'll go back. Okay, so emerging technology services company specializes in in-brain machine interaction businesses, leveraging core algorithms and related software and hardware system. Okay. No, I was looking at V as well. That's V is Visa. This is not Visa. This is Vision System AI. Okay, so VSA. And Daddy for buying area, this is, I'll bring it in green for you. So basically from current market price, is currently trading at $2.91 post market. So from current market price, $2 ideally, all the way down to $1. It's my DCA price. Yeah, cool. So There you go. You got some alpha just for being on live. That's what we like. But yeah, if you look on the monthly, it's just silly. This chart is just silly. Silly. How is this volume, guys? Like, this is what we want to see in stocks. Okay, so price down, little retest, huge amount of volume into a tiny little candle. 100 points if you can tell me what this is called when you have huge amount of volume and a tiny little candle. Does anyone know what this is called? It is manipulation, but there's a specific term for it when it comes to volume. And this is really important to start seeing these things in stock. Huge volume and small candle equals absorption. Absorption. Is that how I spell it? Absorption. This is called absorption. Okay, so basically huge volume, tiny little wick, price is going to move shortly after. It's gearing up for a massive. Yeah, I mean, it's basically what is happening is there's a ton of volume. There's obviously indecision, but a ton of volume with very little movement that happens here, and all the volume got absorbed into very little movement. Meaning, if we are in a bearish price action, and then all of a sudden, all this volume that comes in, people are trying to sell, but there's so many buyers involved that want large buys. The volume is only the body is only going to print a small body because it's like a tug of war. Basically, you've got bulls and bears doing these ones in a very short, limited amount of movement. So you end up printing a very small body but a ton of volume in it. So when you see these kind of candles, and this is how we found some of the best entries when you look for absorption in stocks. Yeah, you're primed. And look, it takes sometimes, this is on a monthly, so it took a few months before that happens. But yeah, these are the first signs when you see, obviously, and it happens on every time frame, right? Like you can see this was on the weekly, so it happened back in January. Small candle, massive volume, and then obviously we come back and retested that exact level. How funny. How funny how the market is predictable. Retested that exact level right there. So yeah, that's why I love trading. It's all about pattern recognition. It rhymes. It rhymes. Market didn't just magically come back there because, and then I stop. It just needed to retest some of those orders. And likely what happens, to your point, Cappy, when you have this kind of movement, there is obviously big manipulation at play. And if you are a market maker, what you do, you open two different positions at once. You open a sell position to inflate a sell position to you open a buy position to bring the price up in this case, and then you open a sell position, likely this one down here, but then you still have your open position up. So this is where you need to come back as a market maker, close your position at break even, and that way you only had the short that printed for you. But in order to, bring or inflate or manipulate the price up, you first had to open that large position. So you end up having this large position open, and then you have to come back and close it. So that's where the manipulation comes back. This is why we come back into these candles. Okay, I can do a whole deep dive if you guys want into how these candles work and why we see this price getting tapped over and over again, because it's all got to do with market makers and how liquidity works. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is a little alpha there, VSA. Put it on your radar, guys. And that's pretty much it for what I had on for today. So Bitcoin, obviously, macro, I am expecting more down pressure. Not just yet. We'll likely see, an all-time high printed in the coming days / weeks. It will be, maybe we hit the 130 mark and then we reverse, but we will want to see then, from wherever it will be, let's just say 130 for ease of, numeracy. So we go 130. I want to see a 30%, 20 to 30% retest, which will likely bring us at least into this candle. And then we can start looking at some alts. But alts that I'll be looking at, someone asked in the chat earlier, what alts am I looking at? Look, at this stage in the cycle, where really, I personally think we're very close to the top. You know, not the top per se, but very close. I will want to see some certainty in alts. So uni is one of them for me. Like uni back at $8 is great. It's going to look real good when it comes back to $5, because for uni to go back to 10, no problem. Uni swap. So that's one for me. So we can put that in a live session. Another one that I'll be looking at to stack up more and more is going to be Casper. This is a longer term for me. It's not a 2x, you know, a short 2x. It's going to be likely, you know, a few months / years of accumulation before we see anything. You can already see I've got this candle right here probably from another call. So high 6 cents is going to be my buying level, which conveniently is going to come and clear all this liquidity which we built for so long. So it's just, once again, follow the money, see where the liquidity is, and then just wait for the break of liquidity. So Casper is going to be on my buying radar. Link is not going to be on my buying radar because we were already grabbing some great entries on Link back in $10. You know, we were buying here at 8, 9, 10. So if anything, now is the time to take some profit. The time to take some profit, actually, I put it was up here. But Link, you know, we've had a good run. If you want to be a little bit more risk adverse, risk prone, you can go in things like grass. I still think grass has a ton of potential personally. That this is premium accumulation here. You can see it. We're basically just going sideways, right? We're just building liquidity. So my goal is just this, kind of like this move here, a nice cheeky 2.5x, and I'm out. So AI narrative, and on the AI narrative as well, Vagabond already put it in the chat for me, so that's easy. It's Tau. So Tau, I wouldn't want to buy now. This was a leverage idea, of course, which we closed. Come back, you know, low 200s. I'm definitely buying and loading up more. You can see Tau has got a really nice structure, and I'll show you what I mean. So we obviously have a daily candle right here that I'm interested in. So 220 all the way down to 170 is buying area prime, and we've already been building liquidity up here. So I'm expecting some sort of retest and then explosion up. Long term, again, this can be a short term or a long term trade. Long term TPs for me are, you know, high 900 / 1000 for something like this. Just reading Chianti's message in the chat. I'll have a look at it later. But yeah, Tau, just wait for the low 200s, 220 to high 100s, like 170, 180, 190, and definitely gonna be buying some more. I do have already a ton though personally, so yeah, depends on your portfolio. But this is what I meant when I said this is a great time for you to really start thinking about how you want to reshape your portfolio, because now you're about to get potentially some of these prices for cheap again before one of the last runs, in my opinion. I've been betting fairly heavy on ton at these current prices. So if you follow my lives, you know that every time I get into my green box, I'm buying pretty much. So the only network ton is for me a buy. Once again, this is just pure accumulation. You can see we're just accumulating here, and we're sitting currently in the 786 at A6, high to low. We're in the beautiful pocket right there, and just moving sideways, creating liquidity. So yeah, once again, this is going to be easy 2x for me on ton. So there's another alt that I am looking at, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple of Solana projects that obviously I'm interested in, and I've been stacking on the way down already. Pyth, we already took profit, but not a bad idea to come and regrab some if we see sub 10 cents. Jupiter, I've been buying probably every single week. I'm buying, and the last but not least was HNT phone network provider. Massive volume spikes, working capital. Company just makes sense in all levels. So if you bought some for, we were buying some down here at $2. I think we will retest that area. I think we will retest, potentially come back and grab all this liquidity which we built when BTC decides to go a little bit lower. So I would wait. $2 potentially to $1.60 could be a great area to stack some HNT there for us. So, but yeah, if we can clear some of this liquidity down here, and all this, so a nice big spike down there, it will be sensational. So come back down here, sub $2, and that's prime buying territory for HNT. Those are pretty much my alts right there. Cool. All right, team. Any questions or any charts that you want me to cover? I think we've covered a fair bit, even though it was only meant to be a macro. We went a little bit in depth, and we looked at a few different things. Can you take a pic at Amazon? Yes, I can. Let's have a look. I haven't looked at this chart in forever. Looks like I had a buy down there. There you go. That was a nice buy. Love when I go back into old charts. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely rejecting here, but it could also potentially just be in creating liquidity down here. There's a ton of gaps still. I wouldn't personally buy anything. Like, I'm too close to the all-time high for me to be buying. I want to see similar to this move or similar to this move, which is where you can see I press buy there because I wanted to see price coming back into below liquidity and into gaps similar to here. There's liquidity here building, and I want to see some sort of pullback. So if I was to eyeball it, I will definitely see a $200 Amazon there. We're at 220, so looking at 10% drop, but somewhere there with liquidity being built all the way here. Yeah, give me a break at this liquidity. Give me some sort of big spike down, come back here, and yeah, you can buy sub 200 will be my target for Amazon. So somewhere like this, and I'm just gonna eyeball it here. So something like this, this would be nice. And obviously stop losses. I don't necessarily put stop losses on my stock portfolio because they're long-term holds. But yeah, this will be a nice nice trade. So I basically will want to see it coming back into this imbalance right there. Cool. Cracker Barrel to $20. Look, Cracker Barrel, I do think it has potential to drop. I don't necessarily buy into the whole FUD, and this is where I buy the fear. I like to buy the fear, but I'm betting I'm betting to go up, to be honest. And the reason is, if we look at structure and structure alone, and I'll show you. So this is on a weekly time frame now. We've gone from making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, or lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high, higher low, higher high. Now, what do you call this? When the structure shifts and we start making breaker structure. That's right, it's a BOS. So on something as powerful as a weekly time frame, to have a breaker structure is a first good sign. So, and I say first because it could be a fake out. So now I did say in the chat, I'm initiating position Cracker Barrel. Do not full port, because if this was it's a simple fake out, I want to see this low being kept. Basically, a weekly structure that does not close below the $35 mark. If it does that, then I'm fairly confident that we're going to go up. And you can see volume is already starting to pick up despite price going down. So I'm confident in this trade. Could we go lower? We definitely could. I'll show you on the monthly. I've got already lined up. So if we go on a monthly, on a yearly actually, because yes, you do look at a yearly on stock. I know it's crazy, but you do. This one candle right here really has my attention, but this could take years to come back to, right? Years. Like we could easily come back all the way up to 120 before we come and revisit the $20. So that's why, you know, it's good to have watch list and come back to it. But some of these trades can take years. Personally, I think we're gonna see up before we see down. And obviously I'm basing this thesis on a breaker structure to begin with, but then we'll see if we can hold this low. If not, I'll change my bias and I'll start looking for lower buys at around $20 on Cracker Barrel. Considering the amount of alts you're looking at, how do you get exposure to every single one? Is that a certain percent you risk for each one? Yes, so your portfolio should be shaped in percentages. That's the best way to think about it. Personally, I have buckets, you know, 40%, 30, 35, 40% is always going to be Bitcoin for me. There's another, you know, 20, 25% of ETH. Then there's a little bit of Sol, a little bit of XRP, and then the rest is divided into buckets. It's up to you how you divide it. Personally, when I look at some of these alts, 1-2% max each of my portfolio allocation will be that. So I don't just nilly-willy buy a certain amount. I do have a spreadsheet that calculates in a pie chart format the percentage of my portfolio, which I update constantly, just because I want to see. I personally I'm OCD with these things. I want to have a visual reference of what my portfolio looks like. I know that there's apps, but you know, I also like to have full control. And yeah, 1-2% for me of this alt of my portfolio for these alts, that would be my recommendation. But you can do more, you can do less. You know, 0.5 to 2.5%, whatever. Wasn't positioned for this BTC move, but feeling much better. Good. Yeah, and that's part of what we do, Vagabond. It's we want to be prepared of what the market does, right? We're not just here. We want to be reactive. So we want to be prepared. We don't want to just be reactive. And having an understanding of where the market could go is super important for us to make better decisions. Like, to be perfectly honest, the other day when we had this, you know, this big drop right here, you know, I was like, oh my God, this is great. I'm going to go and buy some alts. And then I had to stop myself. I was like, hang on a second, Aussie, you just talked about to yourself that, you know, we are going to see lower. This is not the time to buy alts. This is the time to not do anything and just sit tight and just wait for lower. And this is it. So you have to talk yourself out sometimes, right? You see a big drop and you're rubbing your hands. You're like, oh, juicy. I'm going to buy. Hang on a second. Unless you plan on taking profit right away, which personally I wasn't. I think, you know, people like Craig, potentially they'll take profits right away. They're very good at taking profits. You know, they've got years of experience in taking profits now. So, you know, you buy down here, you take profit up here. Great. I would rather, and that's just for me, buy lower and have a bigger swing. Just my style. But everyone, each to their own, right? So that is something to always keep it, you know, don't compare yourself to anyone. Cool. I think that is pretty much it. Jam-packed session. We've been hanging out for about an hour now, so so much talked about here. So it's going to be an awesome little recording for anyone that missed it. All good. Thank you for always bringing in the heat, guys. I love the activity in the chat. Gets me fired up. If you guys bring energy, I bring energy. If the chat is silent, I'm just like nothing happening there. So love it. Cool. All right. I'm gonna go and look at my charts. We try, Barney. We try to keep it clear. Seems to be a theme when I'm around. Yeah, Chianti, you bring in the heat, mate. Always. Don't think for a second that I don't notice that you're always the first log in. I do, And massive props there for you, mate. You're always the first one to log in. You're always there. So massive round of applause for Chianti there. Put a 2 in the chat for Chianti because he's always there. So good on you, mate. Good on you. All right, team. Big woohoo! Nah, we all here, we kick it together. So we do all that we do together, and yeah, we love doing it. So perfect, team. Have a great rest of your week / weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week for another episode. Catch you soon, guys. Ciao.